it's your girl Charlotte, and today we'll be having a little informative tutorial video for you, and that is going to be about the kiln. So this will be all about what happens to your pottery after you leave the studio. Just kidding, it's not that crazy, but it is pretty cool, so let me show you. Before we even do anything about putting into this giant beast, we need to make sure we have a full load of pottery. So like how you'll wait for your dishwasher to have enough dishes, and then you'll decide to run it. So we have a pretty full load right now, and I'm going to start loading into the kiln. But there's a lot of stuff you have to do before that. And one of those things is glazing. So there are two systems here that we do at Creations. One that most do is foundations. So step one, where you paint your base coat and color that makes it food safe. But for kids that are 2 and under who don't have the patience, or sometimes I don't even have the patience, they just skip right to the step 2 and we do the work of making sure it's food safe. So there are a few pieces here that need to be glazed, like this puppy. So I pour myself a cup of glaze and I start covering it over the piece just like this. Really simple. Just everywhere. Gotta make sure it's top, bottom, underneath, so it seals like a top coat nail polish. And even though it's blue, it will turn out clear once it's fired. Don't worry, nothing crazy. I'm done. Perfect. Da, da, da. So sit that on the shelf and let it dry. There are only 2 more, but that's about it. Okay, so now that everything's been prepped and ready to go in the kiln, and things have been checked over for little splotches or little marks that we need to put a little bit of glaze over, now we can start loading this into this. So the kiln needs to hold a lot of pottery, and just like a dishwasher, it has many levels. So these half crescent, half moon shelves are what go into the kiln, so we can layer the pottery to get as much in as possible. This is the very bottom layer, and all these little odd-shaped little tripods and little sticks with little black dots are stilts. Those are nails coming out of ceramic Y shapes. Yes, they're Y shapes, and that's so the pottery can stand up. When loading the kiln, there's a lot of different things to consider. For example, you need to think about the height of your pieces, because when I talked about the shelving, between the shelves are these pillars, right? And we have a few different heights of those pillars depending on what's going to be going between the layers. For example, take a look. We'd use this pillar for lots of plates going on that level, and then this one for taller pieces like unicorns or puppies and so on. So you need to think about things with similar height, similar shape, and how you're going to make that jigsaw puzzle work of all the pottery. And there you have it. 1 layer of pottery finished. So now that we've done that, we can put these babies on. Okay, here we go. When you add these layers, these shelves, into the kiln, it's very important you go slowly, because if you knock it around or drop it, it could possibly harm the pottery. And second, you don't want to chip any of the bricks in there, because the more you harm or chip the bricks, the less effective the kiln will be. And eventually, if you chip it too much, you have to get a new kiln. So, here we go. First layer on. Bam! So there you go. 1 layer on. So I'm going to put the second one on now. Oh, something I forgot to mention is that if you can see that, there's a piece right there and a piece right there, which had already been fired once, but sometimes there's small imperfections that a second firing would improve greatly. So those 2 are in for refiring. I hope you enjoyed this video. There are for sure more to come, some more after hours how-to from Creations. So be sure to subscribe, be sure to like, be sure to favorite, and stay tuned. Bye guys!